YouTube versus Patreon. YouTube versus Patreon. Which one should we use? So let's address the first thing. When it comes to having a YouTube channel, one of the things that is a benefit is being able to monetize your channel. And what does monetizing your channel mean? It means that now once your channel reaches a certain point, you are able to generate revenue from your YouTube channel. Now that within itself doesn't mean that we're greedy or we're out to take advantage of others or anything like that. Most of the time, in 90% of the cases, monetization is actually a way for us to improve our content because now we have a revenue source that allows us to get better equipment, that allows us to get better things that we need for our channel, and so on and so forth. So what we're going to do right up here in the top, there we go, just above the geek, we're going to drop a link to our video last week about what we want to do here on the Weightlifting Geek to improve our channel from the revenue that we make. But that being addressed, it leads us to the question which is the title of the video: YouTube versus Patreon. What are we gonna do? Which one should we use? There are some distinct advantages to both. And if you want to know what they are, stay tuned. Stay tuned for the video. And yes, I'm leaving that burp in. So now, let's get down to the nitty gritty. Well, first of all, I didn't know what we were going to do for Tech Tuesday. I was in my BFF's live stream on Friday, and that's Miss T with the T. Now, I call Miss T with the T my BFF because she is my best friend when it comes to YouTube. She's just helpful, super supportive. I look up to her as a content creator. She's helping us to be able to do things here on the channel. Just a great person. So I'm going to put a link to her channel right there. Now, she is on the way to 3,000 family members, which is a monumental feat. We are at 1,500 and we are trying to grow as well. So I heard this mentioned and she asked a question about Patreon and YouTube memberships. And of course, because we've recently become monetized, I was wanting to do some research into this as well. So I wanted to share with you the information that I found so that I could help out Miss T with the T and also so that I could provide you with this information. So now let's officially get down to the nitty gritty. What are we talking about? We are talking about memberships. Now, memberships, unlike other things, are a consistent type of revenue for your channel. When it comes to ad revenue here on YouTube, your ad revenue is directly related with the amount of views on your content. Now, that may fluctuate depending on what your content is and depending on the need in the community for that content. We have to remember, as we always say, YouTube is a video Google search. So, depending on what content we put out, depending on what needs there are in this big world, we may have high views, or we may have lower views, or we may fluctuate in the middle because we get consistent support from our YouTube family. But whatever the case may be, when it comes to monetization, ad revenue is dependent upon that fluctuation. However, with memberships, it is consistent revenue each month as long as that person is a member. So normally what happens with memberships is you have tiers. So you may have a low tier, a medium tier, and a high tier. But knowing those tiers, there are different advantages to each tier. And it appeals price-wise and perks-wise to those choosing to become a member of your channel. Now, that gets us back to YouTube or Patreon. Now, there are some distinct advantages. Let me go over the first advantage with Patreon. Now, as many people know, In 2023, YouTube is going to make some changes about monetization and the requirements. We don't know exactly what those are going to be yet, but they are up and coming. But we're going to work under the current assumption of needing 1,000 family members and 4,000 watch hours. That is a feat within itself. I thank each and every one of you for helping us to be able to make that happen, because there were times when I even wondered if we were going to get everything that we needed in the time that we needed it. So the benefits of monetization on YouTube is it opens up things like memberships as well as ad revenue. However, the best advantage to Patreon is that there is no requirement by YouTube in order to have a Patreon for your YouTube channel. So in other words, you can have 500 family members and you can start a Patreon. And if you have 500 loyal family members, even before YouTube says you can generate revenue to improve the quality of your content. However, the downside to that is that if you have a Patreon membership program, that those individuals, those family members, now have to leave YouTube to go to Patreon to see the content that's over there for your Patreon members. Now, that may be difficult, it may be clumsy, it may be awkward for some, so that's a disadvantage of Patreon. So, an advantage is you can start it whenever. A disadvantage is you have to leave the YouTube platform to get to your Patreon and the content that you have there. Now, one of the good advantages of Patreon is that Patreon takes about 5 to 8% of the revenue from your memberships. Whereas here in the tube, as Miss T with the T would say, YouTube takes 30%. YouTube takes 30%, and as a content creator, you keep 70%. So that means there's about a 25% difference between Patreon and YouTube. So it's kind of helping us to see some of the things and the reasons why we may choose one or the other. Now, the other good thing about Patreon is that when it comes to Patreon, it is not platform specific. So in other words, if you are developing a presence on multiple platforms, let's say you're like us. We have TikTok, we have Instagram, we have YouTube, we have Facebook, and we've got Twitter. We're trying to grow on multiple platforms. So if you are the type person that creates content that takes off, so now you have 5,000 members on TikTok, 10,000 members on Instagram, 20,000 members on Facebook, and you want to give these family members, although on different platforms, a way to support you and a way for you to help them by means of the perks of their membership, then Patreon is the way to go. Because Patreon is not platform specific. However, if you're only on YouTube, then you may not necessarily want to use Patreon to send people from the only platform you're on to another platform to watch your videos to come back to the only platform that you're on. And it may be a price thing. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, as I was doing the research, I was like, whoa, that's 25%. Whoa. But I really believe that we are going to stick with YouTube memberships because honestly, YouTube is the biggest platform as far as presence in social media that we have. Now, if our TikTok begins to blow up, our Instagram begins to blow up, then we may do a Patreon that's specific for those other social media platforms. But I really do like the benefits of having a YouTube membership. So one of the advantages when it comes to YouTube memberships that you don't necessarily have with Patreon, because it's a different platform. It's a different place, if you will. When it comes to YouTube memberships, everything happens on the YouTube platform. So special icons, or avatars, however you want to call it, or emojis. That's the better term. Specialized emojis, badges that indicate how long you've been supporting that content creator. There's other perks that you can set up, such as promotion on your channel because they are a member. How you promote them, there may be different levels. Just kind of giving you some hints of some of the things we're thinking about. I don't quite want to unveil everything yet because we're getting there. We're going to work our way there. But I did kind of want to start this series of monetization. What to do after monetization. So we may name this part 1 in the series. I'm not quite sure yet. But I did want to kind of approach this particular subject. So with YouTube memberships, not only do you have custom emojis, not only do you have badges, but you can also do members only content. And what that means is, because you are choosing to support our content, our platform, and me as a content creator, I want to set you apart and give you something that only you can watch, because I value what you are doing for us here on the YouTube channel. That's the premise behind members only. Now, of course, if we make everything members only, the odds of us making everybody a member are slim, because some people may not be in a position to do it for one reason or another. But having that as an option makes it easier. Now, if you have tiers when it comes to your membership, whether it be Patreon or whether it be YouTube, it makes it easier for everyone to be able to choose what they want. For instance, if I make whether it's Patreon or YouTube memberships, and I make a membership that's $10, not everybody can give $10 a month. So if I do one for $2.99 and another one for $10 and another one for $20 or $25, now you got a few options to choose from. Hey, you know what I mean? That $2.99 sounds good, but you know what I mean? I want to bump up to that $10. So you may have someone that rocks with you at $2.99 for a hot minute, but then something happens, you put out a video, something that motivates them, and they're like, you know what? I'm about to step my game up. I'm going to the second tier. And now they go from $2.99 to $10.99 or $9.99. Something else happens that you do that just motivates them, and they're like, you know what? I got you. We doing the $25 a month plan because of the benefits, because of the perks, whatever the case may be. So having a few options makes it easier. Now, it does require some planning ahead of time when it comes to memberships, because what you're creating is a framework for your channel. So don't always think about the immediate right now, but kind of think ahead a little bit. What I'm saying I want to do for members right now, is it sustainable? Is it bearable on my part? Is it too much for me to be able to do? If I make a promise that every single hour I'm going to shout someone out if they're a member, that may not be feasible for me because it's my busy schedule, because of family and other obligations. So although certain ideas may sound good when it comes to memberships, always remember that once you put these things in place, you've got to be able to maintain them. Otherwise, you could begin to lose members. Man, I don't know what's going on there with Joe, but he ain't got his mess together. It can happen. So I just want to put you in the mind frame of that when it comes to memberships. Now, as things progress and as you grow, you may decide to adjust the price plan of your memberships. And there's nothing wrong with that, because as we always say, YouTube is an experiment. We are learning as we go. But developing that base, it makes it easier if you decide to increase the prices. Now, the other thing that we have to remember is that memberships are not automatic. Memberships are not a requirement. Let me put it that way. Memberships are not a requirement. So for that reason, it would be unreasonable to expect everyone to be a member, although we would love to see it happen. Oh my gracious. But let's be reasonable. Let's stick to reality. Not everyone is going to be able to afford, whether financially, time-wise, whatever the case may be, to be a member of your channel. But if you do things the right way, and if you do it with the intent of helping others, then that membership money begins to be an automatic bonus in addition to your ad revenue that you get every single month. So now, instead of getting $50 in ad revenue, you may be getting $100, $50 in ad revenue, and $50 in memberships. So you can quickly see how these memberships help the content creator to be able to afford to do more things for the channel. So I just kind of wanted to mention what we learned so far about the difference between Patreon and YouTube. And I hope we've covered a few of the differences. There may be some others that you've noticed that I haven't. I'm going to be honest, I don't have a Patreon. So I'm really going off of the research that I've done and the things that I've seen in preparing for this video. And like I said, I honestly believe that if our other social media platforms really take off, then we may do a Patreon type deal for those family members on all of the individual platforms where they each get something special because they are supporting our social media platforms. But I do believe that we are going to do YouTube memberships. I honestly believe that for right now, that is the simplest thing for us to do. It is the most effective, despite the difference in the charge when it comes to fees. So we're going to continue to work toward YouTube memberships. We've got a few more things to do in this whole monetization process. As I told you, we're a little bit behind because we set it up as a business and we've got to redo it at the end of this month as an individual. But we are getting our way there. We're working our way there. And it's an experiment, y'all. It's an experiment. And we're going to have a Tech Tuesday video on what not to do when it comes to Google AdSense and setting it up for your YouTube channel. So look forward to that video. It will be coming soon. And I don't want to make this video too long, but I hope I've answered my BFF's question about YouTube and Patreon. The goal is to be able to do these kind of things when it comes to friends and family, especially part of our family here at the Weightlifting Geek, so that you can benefit from my research. You may not have time to look up the things that may come across your mind because you are a content creator, just like me. The advantage of these Tech Tuesdays is this is the type research that I was going to do anyway. So now I get to do the research for you so you don't have to, and we all benefit from what we find. So I hope that helped. I will put some information in the description below, so be sure to check that out. You are more than welcome to support us in any way. Ad revenue, super chats, super stickers, all of those things, although unnecessary, truly help our channel to be able to grow and to move forward toward the things that we mentioned in last week's Tech Tuesday that we want to do for our channel to level our game up. So I say thank you for being here. I say thank you for putting up with me. I say thank you for allowing me the opportunity to hopefully motivate and help you in your YouTube journey. So now, let's go to the outro. So we're here in the outro. We've made it through the video. YouTube or Patreon. And I know I've gotten my hands mixed up a lot because I can't remember everything. But in conclusion, kind of putting this together, when it comes to memberships, you can choose what works best for you. There are other membership platforms out there, but Patreon and YouTube YouTube and Patreon seem to be two of the top. So I wanted to evaluate those two head to head. So I hope this helps. I appreciate you being here. The goal is for us to now be able to look at another video from Snack Shack with Little Man. Hopefully everything is worked out so I'm able to edit that video, set it as a premiere, And now we can all go watch that video. If for some reason, because I've got to edit this video and edit his video, and I'm not able to get both done in time, I am going to pin a comment in the comments that is the link to his video, Snack Shot with Little Man. We definitely want to get him started. We're trying to move his channel along. We want to get him his first 100. As his father, I want to build up his confidence in himself as a content creator. And I want him to be able to have options when it comes to graduating high school and how he wants to do what he wants to do, because he'll already have something in place that is generating revenue for him. So I say thank you for all that you do. I say thank you for being family. I say thank you for being amazing. Remember that you are amazing. There is no one like you. Only you can do what you do. So by all means, stay strong, stay positive, stay active. Geek Squad!